Welcome back, everybody, to the Hunting Dad podcast, and I'm joined by I'm going to call you a legend, period. Really cool dude, really cool dad, really cool hunter, none other than Mr. Andy May. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, it's an honor. I listened to a bunch of yours. I've listened to you for years. I actually listened to you for years before I ever seen you or knew who you were because I couldn't find you on Instagram. I just heard of this guy that travels around and kills deer nonstop with basically 2 days to hunt. And I'm like, this guy's awesome. And I think I seen you at the expo, and I'm like, who is that guy over there? Is it Hercules? And he's like, that's Andy May. I'm like, that's freaking Andy May. I was like, my gosh, cool. But yeah, man. So, as always, I start this podcast off with a dad joke because it is the Hunting Dad podcast. So, if you like
All
corny
right.
humor, I hope you're ready for this.
Oh, I do. I do.
Have you heard of the new sport called quiet tennis?
I haven't.
It's just like normal tennis without all the racket. Oh gosh, man.
uh, that's pretty
Like I
good.
said, I know you've been on a bunch of these, and you talk about your tactics and efficiency, which I want to allude to a little bit later. But like I said, you're a hunting dad, so tell me a touch about you, your career, your journey as a father, and maybe a little bit about your kiddo and how old she is and whatnot, and we'll get into that.
Yeah. 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 So, Andy May, I work at, it's called the Intermediate School District. It's a school district for children with special needs. And I'm an occupational therapist. And if you don't know what that is, it's very similar to physical therapy, except we kind of focus from the waist up. Physical therapy can kind of, at least in my setting, it has to do more with kind of the waist down, some upper extremity strengthening. But I work with kids with various disabilities, from autism to physical impairments to cognitive impairments to even just like mild delays, where we might work on some minor fine motor improvements or eye hand coordination or strengthening. But I've been doing that for 23 years. Love it. I love working with kids, always have. I love coaching kids. I just kind of always been really comfortable and natural around kids, probably because I'm still so immature. It's like I can I can relate to them pretty good. Usually can build a good rapport with them. But yeah, and I do have a daughter. She's 16 years old now, growing up fast.
Mm,
Um, she's very much, always has been very much involved with sports, and I love sports, so that's kind of been our major connection point. There is I've always coached everything from soccer to basketball to volleyball, up until a certain age. Right when she started hitting junior high, it was pretty much time for me to back off and just be a spectator, which I've really enjoyed.
I
So,
got you.
yeah. So yeah, it made it, challenging. As we spoke a little bit before the podcast started, but so my daughter's mom and I, we split when she was very young. So I've had joint custody, 50-50 custody. She lives with me half time and half of her mom. So it's kind of been like a hectic schedule. But
Yeah.
even on days where I don't have her, I was often coaching or, taking her to games or tournaments and that kind of stuff. So it made things challenging, but you just kind of learn to adapt and do what you can.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is me and my daughter, me and her mother split when she was 2, and it's always
Mhm.
been a 50-50 thing. And I don't know how close she lives to you, but me and my daughter's mother are only 30 minutes apart every other
Mhm.
weekend kind of thing. So, what I kind of alluded to earlier was like your limited amount of time to actually get out and make it happen. When you add kids in, that makes it so much more, I wouldn't say difficult, it makes the planning difficult. So not only are you having to plan out these hunts or these trips on a 3 or 4 day banger, you're having to make sure that you don't have your daughter with you on that weekend, and or you got a plan to take her with you or something of that nature. Um, so I
Yep.
mean, that's pretty much what I want to ask. I'm sure you're pretty organized. especially like so when you're planning all these hunts out long in advance. I mean, I'm sure you're taking into account which weekends that you have her or you've had
Oh
to
yeah.
do that. I mean, I'm sure. So what I really wanted to ask was how has that changed from when she was super young to the point now?
Yeah. Yeah, no, when she was born through, gosh, and just until the last couple of years, there was that was a hard line for me. I would not hunt or travel on days where I had her. So that eliminated half of my week. Um, and then on the other half, you're trying to, maintain relationships and work and do that sort of thing. I actually, so she's my one biological um, child, but there's two other they're adults now, young adults. From one from that relationship, he's not mine. But I met him when he was 5, and he is 21 now,
Mm,
and I've stayed in his life the entire time. So he's like a son to me. We go up north every year. We go fishing. He comes to my house on Christmas Day. So I kind of grew up, somewhat, or, well, not somewhat, very much involved in his life. And then there's, so that's my daughter's half brother, and then there's another. She's a young adult now. Her name's Chloe, and same thing. That's from another relationship, and we've maintained. I was in her life for many years, and we've maintained a very close relationship. So, I even though some of as we all know, not all relationships last. Like
yeah.
the children that I've been able to be a part of, raising them, I've maintained those relationships, and we still celebrate birthdays and Christmas and everything every year. So it has been, when they were younger, I was same thing with the other kiddos. If they were in a musical or if they had a volleyball tournament or anything, I was just not willing to miss those things. I think that comes from, so, my mom and dad divorced when I was 1, and she raised me pretty much alone. My dad was a good guy, but he was an alcoholic. He had a drinking problem. Not an angry drunk, not a violent drunk, just,
Yeah.
it's just what his whole life revolved around. So he was in my life very little. Um Mostly due to my mom just trying to keep me safe, just because of his lifestyle. But there was opportunities there for him to be more involved, and it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. He ended up dying of cancer back in '06. So I played football, I played basketball, was involved in all kinds of stuff, and he never really was there to watch any of it. So I think that impacted me in a way where once I felt like I was in a child's life, like impacting their life, and they looked at
Hmm.
me as a father figure, I felt obligated and wanted to be in that role and wanted to even maintain that role when the relationships ended. So that's kind of that story. But yeah, how things have changed now as those kids have gotten older. Like I said, 2 of them are in college now, doing great. My daughter's in high school. She's going to be a junior next year. Obviously, she's driving now. That's a new thing, but that's very helpful. But as she got older, I felt more comfortable leaving for the evening to go hunting.
They understand so much better when they're older, you know.
Oh yeah, and to be honest with you, she doesn't want me around. She's searching for her independence. She wants to talk with her friends and hang out with her friends. And I mean, I'm lucky now if I can like get her to hang out with me for 30 minutes.
Dude,
You know what I mean? So
that makes me want to cry just thinking that it's coming because mine's fixing to be
it's
11.
hard. This
Uh,
is the hardest this is the hardest period of my life in that aspect, meaning, man, I'm trying to hold on so tight, and
I
she's,
understand.
yeah, she's trying to not let go, but she's trying to like just have her own independence. So yeah, hunting has gotten a lot easier. Often her weekends are full of hanging out with friends, or she's got a boyfriend. So yeah, I
Oh
have a
boy.
lot more, yeah, a lot more flexibility now. But we still have a really busy sports schedule. Like she's in travel sports. Like the last several weekends, her and I have been traveling all over the place, staying in hotels and doing that. And I just love it. We connect through that. But it
I
has
like it.
changed. It has gotten easier being able to travel a little bit. I still got the work um, challenge there because I do work in a school system. It makes it challenging to be a traveling hunter. So I utilize the weekends and sometimes, maybe like a Friday or a Monday or,
There you
I'll
go.
kind of juggle some, I get a few personal days a year and then I have some sick days that I'll, miraculously come down with something during the deer season. So
That's
that's
right.
kind of how I make it work.
Well, I want to say three things, I think. One, if I was your daughter's boyfriend, if I was a 16-year-old boy, I would be terrified of you, for one. Two, I've got a massive soft spot for men that step up in kids' lives that they never had to. You know,
Mm,
I related to you so much right then because, my grandfather raised me and my sister. My dad worked
mm.
a very strenuous and still does 28 on, 28 off schedule on a boat. It's tough. And my
Wow.
mom was an alcoholic, just like you mentioned. Not angry, not whatever. She just drank.
Yeah.
And, we wasn't around in her life a whole lot, and she passed away from cirrhosis on my birthday back in 2017. Um, but here
Wow.
I
Yeah.
am raising a child that, isn't mine. I come into his life when he's 11 months old. And, when I first met her, I had every other weekend to just be free and run and go do what I wanted. And now I'm starting to kind of get to where I kind of want to slow down because I'm starting to feel guilt. Um, you know, I don't even like to go over 3 days. I feel so guilty leaving them kids because deer are awesome. Like, there's nothing I love
Mhm.
more than chasing these things. But just think 50 years from now how you feel if you spent most of your time just chasing those animals and not with your kiddos because you're running out of time.
Yeah.
It stinks.
Yeah.
I'm starting
And
to realize that more and more.
yeah. And there's a lot of people that have made that choice and had, prioritized hunting over their family and their kids. And most of them, if they're willing to talk about it, deeply regret that. Like I'm thankful that I never really I was like you. I just felt completely guilty. It didn't feel right at all, even though hunting is my passion. I mean, I love it. I want to do it as much as I can. Like that is my priority and that is my job and that is my obligation that I'm not willing to waver on at all. So yeah, I'm very happy with the way I balanced things. It was never really an issue like in relationships or anything. I felt like I mean, I definitely made some mistakes, no doubt, but I felt like I always did a pretty good job of balancing my passion, balancing being a father and a father figure, and then also being a partner. Um, so yeah, I did not want to look back with regret because I mean, yeah, hunting's great and deer, they're all great. I'm super proud of them and great memories, but it's a very distant, very very distant second behind family for me
Yeah,
anyway.
I agree.
So
So, did you ever get her into the hunting side? Because I got my daughter into it. It was our thing. Like, we would do it quite a bit after me and her mom split. And I don't want to say I pushed her out of it. I don't know if it's the girl thing, but she just kind of started to distance herself from it. I don't really. Do we got to get up early? How cold is it? Yada yada yada. I'd heard you.
mhm.
I didn't even know that you had other children that were involved in your life. I just thought it was her. You mentioned something about the boy and you went up north every year. What's that trip kind of look like?
Yeah, so I started taking him up there when he was 5, and he it's so funny because I took him up there and we would catch frogs and we would go on little hikes and we would go to these certain spots over by Lake Michigan and fish and whatnot. And now he's 21, and when we go up there, he still wants to go to those same little spots and do the same little like sometimes the same little games that we used to play. Now there's more roughhousing and wrestling and stuff going on, but it's one of his favorite places. It's the one trip that he looks forward to more than any each year, and it's super cool. It's just we have a cottage up there, and it's very peaceful. It's on a lake. We do a bit of fishing, usually a bit of kayaking or tubing. We go to Lake Michigan. We swim. We grill out. We have campfire every night. Um, so yeah, his name is Aiden, and Aiden never really took to the hunting, but he did very much take to the fishing. I kind
Yes.
of got him introduced into that, and he to this day he fishes. Chloe, the other, she now I was there for her first turkey. I took her for her first turkey, her first deer, and now she actually has been a little more interested in the hunting. It's just that she's just so busy with school. Um,
Hmm.
but she still has interest. My daughter, she's killed a handful of deer. She's killed a turkey. Loves to bass fish. But the same kind of thing, the hunting thing. The last few years, I offer to take her, and she always kind of says maybe, and I think really what it is like maybe if there's nothing else more fun going on.
Exactly.
um,
Yeah.
so I don't push it on her at all, but it's bummed me out a little because we've had some really great moments out in the woods, and obviously any dad was hoping to have like a little hunting buddy the rest of their life, and maybe she'll come back to it, maybe she won't, but it might not be her thing, and that's totally fine. We have sports that we connect on, really well,
That's right.
so there's a blessing there.
Hey guys, let's talk about gear, and not just any gear, great gear. Latitude Outdoors has redefined the game with their lightweight mobile hunting solutions over the last few years. Designed by passionate hunters, their mobile hunting gear is all about stripping away the bulk so you can explore deeper, trek further, and stay agile in the woods. Every piece is crafted to allow you to move and move quickly when needed. Latitude Outdoors has actually made me a more efficient hunter with some of their gear, ranging all the way from their 19-ounce Carbon SS climbing sticks to the OG X-Wing platform. And my new personal favorite, the Maverick single panel saddle. This thing is super minimal. You can fold it up to where it doesn't even feel like it's on your back. This thing was a workhorse for me last year. This thing comes in at a great price point. So if you guys are interested, please be sure check out their full range of hunting gear over at latitudeoutdoors.com. You can find their climbing sticks, platforms, saddles, anything else you could possibly think of to get you in the woods and become a more efficient mobile hunter. Be sure to check those out at latitudeoutdoors.com, built for the mobile hunter. Hey guys, Jacob here with the Hunting Dad Podcast. I want to take just a few moments and talk to you guys about one of my favorite partners that I have, and that is Waterfeather Boats. If you guys have followed my YouTube for long enough, you know that I'm a huge advocate for water access. It makes getting in close to those roosted birds extremely easy and those hard to reach places where all the big bucks live a breeze. Not to mention that Waterfeather is a veteran-owned company proudly designed and manufactured right here in the U.S. in southern Indiana. Their flagship boat was built to handle up to 320 pounds payload with a cockpit that comfortably fits an adult and plenty of gear. Weighing just 58 pounds and right at 9 feet, it's maneuverable and easy to carry, yet tough enough to withstand any environment, making it perfect for hunters and anglers just like you and me. It's even rated up to a 2-horsepower motor and comes with a built-in platform often used as a dog stand or extra gear storage. Lastly, Waterfeather has just introduced a brand new custom blind in mossy oak, making it ideal for duck hunters. There are plenty of ways to get on the water, but this one stands out as the best for me. Born and bred in the USA, this is the Waterfeather. Go farther, go feather. You mentioned Lake Michigan, and I forgot all about this until just now. It was so funny, and maybe you don't even remember this, but it was months ago. I can't even remember what podcast it was, but I got on a rant about this guy. Just, it's not even the same guy. It's a multitude of things. I was like, there you got guys, some guy from Michigan coming down and doing this, that, and everything under the sun, flying his drone and killing all these deer. And I think you had reached out to, it was Jacob Sklinner, and he's like, is this guy talking about me? I was like, absolutely not. It's like, Andy's like my idol, dude. And I was like, why does he think that? And he's like, well, you mentioned this, this, and this. I was like, no, there's some guy that was and I don't know his name. I've heard his name before. I couldn't remember it. I don't want to sit here and blast him publicly, even though he probably deserves it. But he would come down in Kentucky with a thermal drone. He would fly around and find all these deer in the beans or whatever. They still got their velvet on. Their antlers look hot because there's blood
Yeah.
flowing. He'd
Yeah.
find all these deer, and he would mark them, pin them, and he would literally be selling the locations of these deer to locals or
Mm.
traveling guys that are coming to hunt and whatnot. And I mean, the Fish and Wildlife know about it, and they don't even like they don't care. And it's like, when are you guys going to make that completely unacceptable? Like I had a DJI Mini 3 Pro last year, and you can't do it on public, but I would fly that thing back to some of my private spots, and I mean you could see the deer eating out the bean field, and I ended up selling the thing because I mean I don't like
Oh,
you know I have a YouTube channel. It's not huge, but like I don't even want like that type of what would you call it, aurora around me, that like I would go out and run around and do
yeah.
that kind of stuff. I'm trying to be as clean cut and honest as I can, and for the most part I normally am. There's just some stuff you don't show in front of a camera just so you don't get blasted, but other than that,
Yeah.
yeah. But that was
Yeah.
that was really, I was so scared whenever Jacob had said that. I'm like, oh my god, Andy's gonna hate me, thinking I
No,
was
I
talking.
remember that, and I was just like, "What?" I can't remember what. So you're talking about. I think someone had mentioned me earlier, and then
Yes,
I guess
yes,
it was
that's what.
you that said something about somebody in Michigan. So I thought you were talking about me, but then it was like flying these thermal drones. I was like, wait a second, I don't have a drone. I was like, but yeah, it was no big deal. But yeah, that technology thing, it's man, it's really just making me sick. It's just I just see hunting getting ruined right before my eyes, and it's a hard pill to swallow because I see like just opportunity and access just kind of going away slowly. It's so slow that we're not even seeing it, but it's
Right.
becoming more about how many farms you can lock up and how many leases you can have and how much money you got and how many cameras you can run, and now the drone thing, it's like, oh my gosh, like I think really I think there's something that can turn it the other way, but it's going to be going away from all this, and it just won't ever happen. Like, but it's kind of goes contradicts what like the DNR um and usually what the state is looking for, but like making these animals harder to kill is what's going to increase opportunity, increase access. But we keep like improving weapons, improving these cameras, improving. Now we got these drones where we can go in and just watch them and know exactly where they are. It's like it's just making everything too easy. That's why it's hard to like. It's almost hard to even um, be interested in like watching some of these like hunting shows and stuff. Like I used to love watching those, and they would fire me up. And but now you see, these people hunting out of like box blinds, and they're using these cell cameras and stuff, and maybe even a drone or whatever. And it's just like, man, it's becoming so unimpressive, and so uninspiring.
Hmm.
And I'm not knocking anybody, and like I get it, man. I mean, it's like something new comes out, you want to try it. I mean, I love cameras, I love getting pictures. So in some ways, I'm a hypocrite. I still have, more than a dozen regular trail cameras, and I use and I love them, and they certainly give me an advantage at times. But we're getting so far down one way, like I don't think we're ever going to get it back, and I think we're just going to all end up regretting it in the end. And like people sometimes get mad when people ask like, well, was it public versus private, or did
Yep.
you use cameras or anything? It's not like someone wants to crap on you for shooting one off private, or someone wants to crap on you for using a cell camera. But what people want to know, at least this is my perspective, I want to know what went into that hunt. I want to know if you're someone that I should be listening to and maybe ask questions and learn from. I want to know, is there something to learn from this hunt? You killed a big buck in your own way. If you did it out of your scent proof box blind with a cell camera and a corn pile, great. I'm happy for you. But I may not choose to like listen to any more of your podcasts or anything like that, because that's not really what I'm trying to accomplish. So it's not to like degrade anybody or put anybody down for the way they hunt. Like if it's legal and that's the way you want to hunt, you go for it. But people like me that are really into learning and want to improve, we like to hear some context. Like what went into this hunt?
Hmm.
Like how much effort? Like how much scouting did you do? How much did you, you know, how much blood, sweat, and tears did you put into this? How difficult was it? Or did you use every advantage you could, which you're perfectly legal to do? And if
Yep.
that's the case, I would say congratulations, that's awesome. And then I have some context the way this person, hunts a little bit, and I may not choose to learn from them, but maybe the habitat guy next door to me that is trying to build up his 80 acres into a whitetail heaven, he might really want to learn from that guy. So it's more about the context of what's happening, and not necessarily to put anybody down, but like I know the circumstances and the way I like to hunt, and I am drawn to people that hunt in similar ways and people that are challenging themselves, at least in my eyes, in a certain way. And those are the people I like to listen to and learn from.
No, I'm with you. And you know, I I I enjoy my cell cameras, but I can't stand the people that abuse them. Like
Yeah,
Kansas and Iowa, where you got these woodlots and whatnot. These guys are throwing a cell cam in the middle of them, and they know when the deer's in there, and they go hunt it.
yeah,
Anywhere I've got a cell camera, it's because it takes me 2 or 3 hours to get there if I start driving right now. It's like my goodness, and it takes away
and the,
from the experience, and it really it does. Like I don't look at deer that I kill with an advantage somewhere as much as I do the ones that I busted my ass for, and I did bleed. I sweat my ass off, and it took me forever to get the thing out or whatever it may be. Those just mean more. Like
yeah,
like last year, you know, I needed a place I can just go and shoot a bunch of does. I've got 100 acres. It's the only private land that I basically have. I took my 4-year-old with me, a 50-pound bag of corn, and I put an Edge 2 Pro over it, and I left just because I wanted to see how many does were coming into that area. We set a blind up. I hate hunting out of a blind, but it's a place that I knew I
yeah,
could go and take my kids, and we could hide, and they could move around a little bit and stuff, and we could get away with it, and they could see me kill a deer. Plus, I think it's important,
yeah,
like when you take really young kids, like they need to see some action or they're not going to take to it. And I'll be damned if last year, opening day of what was Kentucky gun season, I went on some public with my bow, forgot my release, shot at probably a 145, 150 inch deer with my fingers, almost hit him in the nose with my nock because my arrow was tail whipping so bad. Madder than hell. Go back home. I'm tired because I've been kayaking for probably a total of an hour and a half that morning. Get them, drive out there, and I'll be damned if I didn't shoot the only big buck that was using that private property on that corn pile that, by the way, had not been anywhere on a camera near the front of that property the entire time. I mean, we're like 200 yards from where I parked my truck. And the boys got to see me kill a deer. It was cool. It was
yeah,
fun, but
yeah,
what means more to me is that they were there with me. Now, if I'd have went out, sat in that blind by myself, and shot that deer over a corn pile, oh my gosh, like it. I mean, I would feel dirty. You know what I mean? It's one
yeah.
of those
And
things, and
it's all good. Yeah, it's all good too. Like I don't have a problem with baiting. I know there's guys that really, are real tactical with their baiting, and I think there's something to learn from those guys. Now, is that my favorite way to hunt? No.
no,
Are all these deer have all these deer been super hard to kill or super challenging hunts? No. I mean, no, they all haven't. Like I've killed some on public land. I've had some on some permission properties where only a couple other guys are hunting. So it's like I'm not trying to everybody can hunt the way they want to hunt, and sometimes a nice relaxing hunt is nice. It's just I was kind of more in terms of like who, when we are trying to learn from somebody, it's nice to have a little bit of context. It's not to like shame them. Oh, you killed that on private land. No,
right?
it's not that. It's just like just to kind of get a little more context to the story. But yeah, no, I agree. Especially taking kids or I mean, who knows, man. I'm into challenging myself. I like physical hunts. I like Western hunts. I like hunts with new species where I feel like, man, I'm really relying more a lot on my like hunting instincts to kind of figure this out. because I'm not an expert at mule deer, or I'm not an expert at elk, or I'm not an expert at hunting sheep or Spanish goats or antelope or anything like that. So I'm kind of into that, challenging myself with new species, new areas. I've kind of always been that way. And it really just stems from um, just wanting to get better overall as a bow hunter.
Yeah.
Like I've killed a bunch of whitetails, and I love whitetails. They'll always be my first love, but I'm way more into like other adventures and other species now. I mean, there's been seasons where I've actually done more of that than the whitetail hunting, and then I'm like, man, I kind of miss whitetail. So
Yeah.
I'll always
Yep.
love whitetail, but it all comes down to me is just like I just want. There's going to be a time where I'm not physically able, or my skills, my body, and it's probably already started, if I'm being honest, is going to start going downhill. Like, so I'm trying to be the best hunter that I can be and just continue to grow. And I can't do that unless I'm doing things that I think are hard. If I'm
Right.
doing things that I think are easy, or I'm hunting in a tactic that is fairly straightforward and easy and doesn't take a lot of problem solving, I'm not super stimulated by that. It doesn't mean I wouldn't do that once in a while. It's just like
Right.
I don't want everything to be like that. I want to be on the ground in their face, sneaking up to them in their bed, or I want to be, you know, a mile and a half deep on public land, 30 feet up, sitting over a rut funnel, or I want to go out west and cover, 80 miles in 10 days for mule deer. Like all these different things where I feel like I come out of that learning so much, where I challenge myself, and then I look at those deer and I'm like, man, there's some of these deer that I'm so proud of, and then there's other ones that I'm like, that was fun. That was fun. It wasn't super challenging. It was fun.
Right.
Like, so like it's all over the board for me, but that's kind of what I'm seeking as a bow hunter.
I understand that. And my only pet peeve with some of these advances that we have, like cell cameras, crossbows, corn piles, whatever, is if you're gonna do it, own it. Don't like don't like take a picture with a giant 190-inch deer and it's like, shot this deer bow hunting, blah 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 blah. Where's the
Yeah.
bow in the picture? Well, you shot it 110 yards of the crossbow. Whatever, but own it.
Yeah.
Don't hide from it. Like, just if you own it, you look like a more honorable person anyway. So,
Absolutely.
people will
Yeah.
respect that a little bit more, other than just trying to cover it up. And I think there is so much of that in the even bigger social media outdoor people, the
Mm.
TV hunters. There's so much stuff that goes on that nobody knows about, and there's even
Oh
stuff
yeah.
that I'm sure you even know about, that you hear about through the hunting community, and everybody just thinks they're a hero and they are just cutting every corner. They are spending thousands on thousands of dollars for info, and it just rubs me the wrong way, so bad,
Yeah.
so bad.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard. I try not to get too caught up in that, but it's easy to, because this is the bottom line is like we love this. We
mhm,
love hunting. It's all of our passions, and at least for me, like I'm very sensitive to changing what hunting is, or at least in my mind, what it was meant to be, and varying too far from that and making things like less hunting, more just killing and surveillance and buying success. So I'm very sensitive to that. I don't like to see hunting gravitate towards that, even though I know there's no way to stop it, and I'm fine with you doing that. It's just it bums me out, um, that's happening. But like to your point too, like when people are straightforward and honest, like I mean, what can you say? Like, for instance, like Cameron Haynes, he wrote all these books like Backcountry Bow Hunter, but he's not really hunting that way anymore. You know what I mean? Now he's hunting on these, paying $30,000 to $50,000 to hunt the San Carlos, or in Arizona. But at least he says it. At least he
right.
says that. And it's like, what? I mean, okay. I mean, he admitted it. That's what he's doing. Not that it's super easy, but he's just hunting a spot where nobody else really gets to hunt unless they're willing to pay, and it has world class bulls. It is what it
Right.
is. You know what I mean? But he's honest with it. He's not trying to claim it was, you know, wherever, Colorado OTC or
Colorado
something. So
DIY,
yeah, so
yeah,
you
over the
can't hate
counter.
on it. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
Well, speaking of bow hunting, I look at you as like a super like top tier bow hunter, serious guy. When did the switch flip for you to when like you started really taking hunting like seriously? Like, and what sparked that, or have you always been kind of that way?
yeah, it happened immediately because I didn't start bow hunting until I was 18. I started archery in 17, and people have heard the story, so I'll make it quick. But I had some cousins that got into bow hunting, and they wanted me to get into it, and I didn't right away because I didn't know if I could kill an animal and feel good about it. To be honest with you, I love animals. So, but I was always kind of drawn to archery. I always liked archery movies like Robin Hood and all of those. So I ended up getting a bow. I got in a league, a winter league, and like a lot of things that I enjoy, I get very obsessed with it.
Right.
Um, it's like I'm either obsessed with it or I don't even want to spend time with it. It's like I don't want to say it's like that for everything, but like there's certain things I get obsessed with being good at, and archery is one of those. And I shot when I first got that bow. I shot every single day, and I got so good that I went down to this winter league down at Shoepec Sporting Goods. I live in the the probably I grew up in the most popular hunting county in Michigan. Tons of bow hunters, big bow hunting culture. Shoepex was the biggest uh, bow shop in the whole state at the time, and they would have literally 6 nights of leagues, full wall to wall guys. And I went down there and I won. I got first place my very first year shooting a bow, and
Nice.
and even the owner, I've become friends with him, but he's like, you should, do you bow hunt? And I was like, no. He's like, you really need to bow hunt. So the next year I started bow hunting. I shot at 2 does, and I was just hooked. And ever since then I became just obsessed with like archery and bow hunting. I do very, very little gun hunting. I like gun hunting, but usually what I do is like I'll bow hunt, and then when the gun season comes in, I leave to another state to go bow hunt.
Gotcha.
I'll usually gun hunt like a couple times a year. I kind of like to go out opening day just because like I don't know, all my friends are getting pumped about it. I kind of like the tradition, but then I usually put the gun away and grab the bow. And I've killed some bucks with a gun, and I'm proud of them. I like them, and I'm happy with them. But like I've never mounted one of those. Like it's just I just look at them a little different.
Fair
But
enough.
that's not a knock on it. I actually want to do more gun hunting. I just can't get myself to do it because I love bow hunting so much. Um, but then yeah, I just became the obsession just became more and more and more and more. And I had all these years before I had my daughter. I didn't have her until my mid 30s. And so I literally was spending every single day of the season hunting. I was spending every single day of the off season scouting. And it sounds like an exaggeration, and it might be slightly exaggeration, but literally I would leave work at 3. I would go right to the woods, and I would always be coming out with a flashlight. I would do that every single day, 6 days a week at least. And I couldn't get enough of it, and I couldn't get enough of learning a specific spot really well, and I couldn't get enough of learn, checking out new areas. So I became successful, more successful than my friends who had been hunting a long time, even adults that have been hunting a long time, really, really quickly, simply because of the obsession and the time I was putting in. Not because I was a good hunter, but I was
Right.
learning quickly. The second year I hunted, I shot a spike. Um, that was my
That's right up
first
my alley.
buck. Yeah, yeah. And then the third year, I got invited on a gun drive, and I was like, okay, so I went out. I didn't even have a gun. I went out and bought a gun, and it was with this family that I went to school with, and they put me. Uh, they put me like in the gar hole. Like I was along the highway, they're like,
Yeah.
you go over there. And I'm like, I'm over there. And I'm like, okay, it doesn't look like there's going to be any deer over here. I mean, I was in the spot where they didn't think I was going to get anything. All of a sudden, this buck comes flying out of the corn, and I see this rack, and I'm like, oh my god, that's a state record. This is what I'm thinking. I
Right.
bring my gun up, and I just lead him, and I shoot, and he tumbles
Nice.
at like 80-yard running shot, but then he gets up, and then he takes off. Well, we ended up finding him. He was about 105 inches.
Heck yeah.
but but he was so like it was the biggest thing I'd ever seen, and this was a family owned property, 30 years in southern Michigan, which is our big buck area. It was the biggest buck ever killed on their farm in 30 years. So
That's
like
hilarious.
that got so much attention, that buck, and I got so much praise, and everybody's so amazed that like everybody wanted to come and see it. I was just like, wow, like this is like shooting big bucks is cool, like so it was year 3, and I was like, okay, that's kind of what I'm gonna go for. Now it wasn't like big bucks, but I was like, okay, you hunt like 100-inch bucks, like that
Right.
size, like that's what I'm gonna go for. And I started knocking those down. A lot of them 2-year-olds, maybe occasional 3-year-old, and then just over time, as I got better as a hunter, as I scouted more and covered new ground, I started, just getting better and locating some older bucks, and it kind of less 2-year-olds, more 3-year-olds, and occasional 4, and then it was less, you know, 3-year-olds, more 4-year-olds, occasional 5, and so on. So that's kind of like the progression there, but the obsession, it never, it was immediate. I mean, it was
Nice.
immediate because I was like obsessed with sports, and then I was just plagued with injuries. I had two knee surgeries in high school, pretty much cut out my whole senior year, and I was obsessed with those. Like I was the guy that was like training every day, coming into practice early, staying late. I'd leave practice, I'd go home and train. Like I was just obsessed with it, and then that was just all gone. I had no more
Mm,
future in athletics, and then this came like at the perfect time, and it was something that I really found out quickly that if I didn't need like a talent necessarily to be good at this. I just needed to work hard at it, try hard, just put time into it. And it just I channeled my obsession from this to this. And it became what I think is a healthy, a healthy passion. And that's just kind of led me to, where I'm at today, I guess.
I like it. You know, I like the gun hunting aspect for like the tradition of just like I every time I pick up my 30-06, I just picture myself sitting in my papa's lap, and
Mm-hmm.
just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. But I'm starting to trend a little bit towards like I really enjoy hunting with a muzzleloader. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not as easy. You can't shoot as far. It's like a primitive
Yep.
weapon. Now they're way more advanced than they used to be. I'm not like George Washington putting a cap over here and shooting a red coat or nothing. But I
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoy it, and especially after last year, I drew an Iowa tag for the first time on a late muzzleloader hunt, and I had my chance at a booner, and I took I took my shot, and it just wasn't good. And I learned the hard way a lot about muzzleloaders on that trip, and one of them was with it being like in the negative feel like temperatures,
Mm-hmm.
going in and out of the cold to a 70-degree cabin room, back out in the cold, but in and out, in and out. That barrel was sweating. It was changing the trajectory. It was getting my powder wet, and I watched that deer run out of my life, and it ain't left my mind since. I killed 6 bucks last year. I'm proud of them. One of them was like super small. It's kind of a tradition. I'll get to that. I did kill 6 bucks last year. I'm really proud of them. I know you probably wouldn't pick your bow up for most of them, but missing that deer at the very end of season, like January 6th or 7th, it's like that whole season feels tainted to me now. Like I
Mm-hmm.
built it up the entire time, and I just ended on such a crappy note. I'm so mad at myself for that. Oh my gosh, it plagues me. But man, Where was I going to lead with this next? Shoot. Oh, well, you've popped the question with Lisa, correct?
Yeah.
So you said you before we started recording, you said you guys have been together about 6 years now. So that kind of answers this, but like she gets a good idea of how much you like to hunt and whatnot. Does that ever kind of throw a conflict out there? I feel like once women are a little bit older, and I don't know how old she is. I know you're probably in your 40s and whatnot. It's like once they hit about 40 ish, it seems like they just kind of want you gone anyways because you drive them crazy. I know mine is trending that way slowly now that the kids are becoming a little more self sufficient, whatnot. But me and my obsession for going, it pretty much killed my first marriage. And I
Hmm.
just I wasn't going to give, and I was too young and stupid to realize like you got to give and take, and I wouldn't give. And
Yeah.
meeting my wife and her little boy, and then we have a kid together now. It's like I've toned it back a lot, but I'm just wondering if you know if you feel like you're gonna have to slow down a little bit for after popping the question, or you feel like you still got full reign and you can just take off.
Well, I mean, she's very, very extremely supportive. Probably the
Nice.
most out of anyone I've dated, and most of them were pretty supportive because yes, I hunted a lot. Um, I guess my mistakes were I would hunt and then I would come home and I wasn't exactly fully present.
Yeah.
I was still like organizing my hunting gear or shooting my bow relentlessly or going over trail cam pictures or looking over maps. And so I have learned from other relationships because there were times where yes, there was obviously some arguments and some frustration there. But I learned from that, because
Yeah.
having a partner and being in a loving, supportive relationship is more important to me than hunting. But my partner needs to understand that this is my passion. Luckily, Lisa has a passion. It just so happens to be her work. She owns a restaurant. She loves being around people. She loves scheduling parties. She loves scheduling events, doing stuff in the town, the small town where the restaurant is. She does so much for the community. So she's extremely busy, but she loves to travel with her friends. So she has a lot of women I think don't have a passion like we do. So they
Right.
don't really get it. Um, Luckily Lisa does. And one thing I learned with her early is that when I'm not hunting or when I'm not gone, say like I'm not on a long weekend trip and I'm home, I need to turn it off at least when I'm spending quality time with her.
Yeah.
Like put the phone down, um, not looking at it and not shooting my bow. I'm gonna do that. So I move everything away from when I'm actually spending time with her. So I'll get up really early in the morning while she's still in bed. I'll go out and I'll get 30 minutes of shooting my bow in. Or I'm not gonna hop on the couch while we're gonna watch a movie and go through, SD cards. I'm not gonna do that.
I'm guilty of
Um,
that.
yeah, and I have been too. And these are just things that I've learned over the years. But yeah, we're older. I'm 47. She's 45. So yeah, I think we don't really have any young kids anymore. It's just like I think I think she's probably that makes her more supportive, a little bit. We're a
Hmm.
little bit later in life, and she cheers me on, man. Like she's so proud of me. Like I don't even post a lot of the stuff that I've shot. Like I post most of it, but I don't
Right.
even post it all. And she wants to post it on her Facebook page. "Oh, can I post this? I'm so proud of you." And I'm like, no, like no, don't. Like I'm happy you're proud of me, but like I don't know. It just like the way that's portrayed. You know how it is.
Oh yeah.
Um, so she's great. And but then I have friends that have very unsupportive wives and their passion is just as strong. So if this is something that you want to be a big part of your life, You have to communicate that early. Um, but you also have to be willing to, if being in a relationship and getting married and being a good husband is important to you as well, you have to learn that balance, and you have to talk about it and communicate, and you have to be willing to give and take. Sometimes you're going to have to take away from hunting to give to your family. But if I was starting over right now and, I was, say I was dating and me hunting was a deal breaker, I wouldn't get in that relationship because I wouldn't be happy. This is a part
Right.
of who I am. I don't need to hunt a lot, and I don't hunt a lot compared to a lot of people. I hunt more than some of my friends and a lot less of some of my other friends. So, but I do, even though I'm not in the actual act of hunting all the time, I am spending a lot of time doing things that I think are going to make me better. And that could be, say, I can't get out and scout. All right, well, I have to do something today that's, it's almost like every day I have to check a box of something that I think is improving me as a bow hunter.
Yep.
And I can make sense of just about anything. Like, say, maybe I can't get like I can't hunt today because we got some stuff going on and I don't have enough time to get out and scout, because that's normally what I would do. I would like, okay, I can't hunt. All right, I'm going to scout for a couple hours after work and then I'll be home by, 5:30 or 6 or whatever. That's normally what I would do. So a lot of scouting, a little bit of hunting makes my hunting better. But say I can't do that. Okay. Well, I'm at least going to get a few arrows in the backyard. Okay, well, maybe it's raining. Maybe I can't do that. All right, well, then I'm going to sit down for 45 minutes and go over some trail cameras or study some maps. Okay, well, the internet's down. You can't do that. All right, well, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work on, I'm going to work on some core, and I'm going to work on some mobility exercises so I'm better in the mountains. Like, that's the way my brain works. Like, every day I got to check off some of those boxes, usually multiple ones, and I try to just do it like I get up I get up to go to the gym. I wake up at 5, so it doesn't impact anyone else's life. It's just me doing what I feel like I need to do. And then when I get home, a lot of times I'll know everybody. Like, I might get home at 4, and everybody else is getting home at 5 or 5:30. All right, well, that's what I'm going to shoot before they get home. So as soon as they get home, I lay it all down,
I like it.
and now I'm dad, now I'm husband. And that's the way I've kind of tried to just adapt my like obsession at constantly improving with balancing, being a good partner, a good husband, a good father.
If you're looking to add a few new trail cameras to your arsenal this fall, look no further than Moultrie Products. Moultrie is one of the biggest and most trusted trail camera companies in the outdoor industry, and they have taken my scouting to a new level. The new Edge 2 and Edge 2 Pro cameras utilize next level AI technology like Smart Capture to do things such as trigger pictures on only bucks or only deer in general if you choose so, making false triggers on the wind or annoying raccoons over a bait pile a thing of the past. Another thing I love being a public land hunter is that the new cameras do not utilize SD cards, meaning nobody can steal your card and nobody can check your pictures. Not to mention, your old cell camera is giving you all those fits over faulty cards or needing formatted when you're miles or even states away. So if you're looking to up your scouting game this fall, check out these affordable, reliable, and easy to set up Edge series cameras. You guys can check these out at Instagram, Facebook, and of course MoultrieProducts.com. Hey guys, Jacob here with the Hunt Dad Podcast. If you guys have followed my YouTube, DO3 Outdoors, for any amount of time, you know that I'm a huge fan of companies that build a great product that even the blue-collar guys like me can afford. For years, I would skimp out on optics on my hunts because of that intimidating price tag, or knowing that what I could actually afford at a young age was going to be absolute junk. Luckily, over the last few years, I've discovered Hawk Optics. Hawk makes a great line of glass, scopes, and accessories that are easy on the wallet but perform at a high-end level. One thing I really love about Hawk is their unmatched customer service. Real people, fast answers, and a company that actually stands behind what it sells. And let's not forget, with Hawk's lifetime no-fault warranty, you are covered for life on your gear. Since using Hawk Optics, my 4 personal favorite pieces so far is the 10x42 monocular, the Nature Trek spotting scope, the Frontier ED 8x42 binos, and of course the Endurance rangefinder. If If you guys are interested about any scopes, pieces of glass, or accessories, be sure and go check out hawkoptics.com. That's HAWKE optics.com. Yeah, that's something I've actually kind of transitioned to. Like you said, is you're getting up early and you're going to the gym. You're not disturbing anybody. You know, I'm not necessarily getting up and going to the gym. If you look at me, if you've seen me, you'd realize that I don't go to the gym. But anytime that I see a break or an opportunity that's not affecting time with family or something that I'm supposed to be doing, get it in. Look at them maps, study them
Yep.
trail camera pictures, think about things that happened last year, take notes, whatever that may be. But man, I don't want to keep you a whole lot longer, but I do have to ask, you're a super accomplished hunter. I admire you in many, many ways, Andy. What does the next 5 to 10 years look like for you as far as like a goal in the hunting side of things?
Yeah, that's a good question. I definitely want to continue to improve. I think there's a lot of room for growth for me and getting better. I mean, just like you mentioned, you had that season where you kill 6 bucks and then you screw up on one at the end and it kind of taints the whole thing. Like those failures, which I have every year, it's not always a miss, but it's always some sort of wrong move I made, or maybe I missed one, or maybe I wounded one, or just I made a wrong call. Those things really fuel the fire. Like those are the things that let me know, okay, like you can get better.
Yeah,
And I know it's part of hunting. Mistakes are part of hunting. What we're doing is hard, especially with a bow. Um, but those are the things that really it gives me something to focus on when I really break down what the mistakes were on any given season. It gives me a few things to focus on to improve. Um, so goal is to always be improving, and I know at some point I'm probably my skills, my body, everything is going to kind of level off, and I'm just not going to be as effective. I'm not going to be as mobile. I'm not going to be as strong. I'm not going to be able to stay in the woods as long. But until that time happens, I want to kind of keep that trajectory going up. It's very motivating me. It gives me a lot of like focus in life to, just and motivation in life to like stay young, stay fit, stay healthy so that I can continue to improve on this one thing. And like if nothing else, like that's benefited me health wise because like that's a goal of mine to do this as long as possible, continue to get better. And at some point that's gonna, like I said, gonna level off, but I want to continue to hunt till I'm old. I want to continue to hunt in the mountains till I'm old. I want to go up there when I'm can barely still make it, because and that's so motivating me to for me to do that. Like I want to be 70 and still going to Colorado. I want to be and I know I may not be effective, but I still want to go out there and just live that life, and still be able to trek back into a swamp or a marsh and do that as long as possible. So my goals are continue to improve, promote longevity in this passion of mine of hunting. Um, and then as far as like, hunting certain things, definitely I have more goals of hunting like more species, different types of things.
gotcha.
I've just been really, I've been really excited and kind of refueled the passion, like, mule deer for a while now. Now I've killed, a good number of them. And I love hunting antelope. I'm going to do that again this fall. And then some other species like the Spanish goats, the rams, elk. I plan on doing more elk hunting. Um, so yeah, those are the kind of the goals over the next 10 years is just kind of keep improving, promote longevity in hunting through, exercise and just kind of keeping those skills and try to stay healthy, and then just experience new adventures. I want to keep challenging myself, and I have no problem with an easy hunt now and then. Like I love those hunts where you go in and you're like, oh man, this has got it all. It's like seems like a good spot, and you get up in a tree and here he comes. Like I've had a lot of those. Those are great. But
Yep.
I also love those grinder hunts where it's just like it feels like this can't be done. This isn't gonna happen. And you're
Yep.
just like you're rewarded with the hard work and the dedication. Like those are the ones where like, man, this was something. And I have some hunts and I don't ever like speak of it like that. It's kind of something that I just keep inside of me, but there's hunts where I'm just like, dang dude, you did something here. Like nobody else is going to see it, but you see it because you experienced it. You drove all that way, you hiked all those miles, you made that crazy good stalk, you made that shot, or you hiked back that far into public land, sat all day for 4 days. Like you did that you pulled something off. Like those are the things that I really crave, those experiences. So hopefully more of those to come.
Yeah, those are tough because you feel real good about yourself and you kind of, I don't know if you call it boasting, like you want to be like, this is what I did. This was incredible. Like take that corn pile kings or what, whatever it may be. but but you can't pat yourself on the back like that more than a handful of times without, I don't know, feeling somewhat guilty. But no,
Yeah.
I totally get where you're coming from, and I like it. I really need, like I've always shot a bow like since I was 8 years old. Like I've had something, but I need to find a way to deal with my inaccuracy at times. I need to deal with my target panic. I just I
Mhm.
feel like I'm almost better at making the shot in person on an animal. Like I can focus. I'm cool. I'm calm, collect. Like I can settle the pin and bury the arrow. But like man, I shoot like a few arrows like out of the house. If like one's like a flyer, like 4 or 5, whatever, 8 inches off, I'm in my head now and I'm all over the
Mhm.
place. It's like that's something I need to watch some more videos. I need to listen to some more podcasts on stuff like that. I want to get more accurate with the bow. That's pretty much my goal this year. And I'm kind of like you. If I don't kill an elk in the next 5 years, I'm gonna go crazy. Like I would give up whitetails for 2 or 3 years in a row just if I could kill an elk. And getting someone to take you under their wing out west and help you, which I mean I want help, but I don't want my hand held. Like I just would like somebody
Yeah.
with me. It was like if I go to make a wrong move, like hey, stupid, don't do that. Like you're gonna blow the elk out of this canyon, whatever it may be. Like if I just had somebody that would kind of keep me on a lead rope or whatever, man, it'd be
Yeah.
awesome. And if I've got some points for Wyoming, I plan to apply probably next year. I'll have enough for a general bow tag or something like that. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I really don't want to pay an outfitter, but I'm to the point now to where if I go out there and spend that kind of money on a tag again and come home empty-handed, she's going to be like, "Hey, what are you doing? You're killing me." Which elk
Yeah.
are extremely
And
hard, and it's an extremely low success rate.
yeah, and it's hard for us Eastern guys to go out west. Like, I'm not big on using outfitters either, but if you were ever going to use one,
Yep.
maybe it's in a foreign country, or not country, but foreign uh country, meaning like mountains, and with a species that you're not super familiar with, like you could learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You could almost look at it as like, yes, I'm paying this to actually learn from this guy that lives out here and does this for a living, and then you might be able to take some of those skills and then go off on your own. The only other thing I would suggest is maybe just finding someone that's on the same uh like starting point as you,
Yeah.
and then you kind of go out. Like that's kind of what I did. I do a lot of solo stuff now, but like we started was just going out there with a buddy. We didn't know what we were doing. But it come
Right.
to find out, hunting whitetails, and especially hunting mature whitetails, and then hunting mature whitetails in a difficult state like Michigan, and there's other ones as well that require a lot of patience, a lot of commitment, a lot of like dedication, a lot of focus, a lot of attention to detail. It served me very well out west. Um, my first mule deer hunt, um, I killed a nice mule deer. My first elk hunt, I shot a really big bull, didn't recover it,
Dang.
unfortunately. And then antelope, same thing. I killed a nice goat. So we actually have, a good whitetail hunter actually has more skills, or has some good skills that will serve him well out west. It's just you gotta like do your research, ask a lot of questions to people that have done it. We watched a lot of like the elk videos and stuff, and asked questions to people that were better than us, that had more experience, and then we went in there with like a lot of confidence, really.
Mhm.
But I was really surprised that, like, man, I kind of developed some good skills hunting, hunting mature whitetails, in a DIY fashion around home, and various states, and it served me really well, hunting new species and new types of country. So
Nice.
definitely think you can do it for sure.
Yep, I've been to Colorado twice. I've been at full draw on a legal bull both times, and I
Mhm.
haven't been back since 2020 or 2019.
Oh,
It's
wow.
just been tough, and we had a little boy, and it just ain't been in the cards to get away for that long. So we're getting close
Yeah.
to getting back out there. I know that it's calling to me.
Yeah,
But
that's the one thing, the elk hunting I haven't done. That was the one. Now I've been on a couple. I did kill an elk last year, but that's the one that I've just put it on the back burner, because the time that I have for off work, being in a school, like kind of like the long weekend type hunter, it's just not enough for elk. Like, the logistics of getting out there, and then elk
no, it's
hunting
not.
is
It's
its
not even
whole other thing.
possible. It,
It's
it,
it's really not. I mean, it's not realistic. Yeah, I got one last year, but I had 5 days, and even that's not enough. I mean, when you consider packing it out, how you going to get the meat home, all this stuff, like, it's not enough. So hopefully in the next, 2 years from now, I got some things kind of lined up. I'll be kind of coming to the end of, my time working where I am. Probably, do another job with some more time flexibility. I'm going to shift some focus over to, some of those other species where I can devote a little more time. But
there you go. Well,
it's kind of where
Andy,
I'm at.
like I said, this is only my fourth podcast, and getting you on was nothing short of a miracle. I appreciate it, especially after the technical difficulties, and I'm fighting off bugs and everything else in this uninsulated, uncooled, unheated building of mine right now with the door wide open so my Wi-Fi connection is better. It's been a hassle, but it's been fun, and I really do appreciate, seriously, getting it right off of work, taking time to talk to me, and
Hey,
it's
no
been
problem.
good
Yeah.
and super informative. I appreciate it, man. But if you guys are out there listening, don't forget I'm still giving away a brand new water feather boat, a Maverick saddle from Latitude, and a couple trail cameras from Moultrie. So be sure you're looking for that video on how to enter that. Other than that, if you don't care, leave us a 5-star review on both Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I always forget to say that, so I'm trying to remember to do all this stuff. Anyways, do that. Appreciate it. Thank you, Andy. You have a great day, man.
All right. You too. Thanks, pal.
All right, buddy.